Here at Y Media, I spend a lot of time making fun of the DCEU. I have a 35-minute video just ripping apart Suicide Squad 2016, and I constantly make negative references to Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel and both versions of Justice League, and I'm not going to stop. Those movies suck, but I actually love DC Comics. It has some of my all-time favorite superheroes, including my absolute favorite ever, Wonder Woman. And while her first movie is fantastic, and I had a lot of fun with it, I'm not here to talk about it. Maybe one day. But if I did, I would undoubtedly have to cover Wonder Woman 1984. So much wasted potential. But today, I'm here to talk about the superhero that everyone loves to say is the most boring and is too powerful. And he's possibly the most famous superhero in the world, Superman, not Smash Girl or Esfinir. Yet. In this essay, I'm going to contend that Supes isn't boring, that the way that people write him just generally sucks, because they misunderstand the point. And if there are any Snyder fans here watching, hi, welcome to the channel. I know, Snyder made a more realistic version of the character, and Snyder is trying to make him more human, meaning a douchebag. But foundationally, I feel like he missed a few steps there, and I might devote a video into explaining why, but for now, I'm just going to talk about Superman versus the Elite, and make snide comments at your expense and Snyder's expense. Ah, snide comments? Snyder comments? Get it? They're almost homophones. Content warning. This movie is on the lighter side on the whole of troublesome content, at least as far as those in the States are concerned. It's just cartoon violence, some talks of authoritarianism and violence, and the implications therein. If you don't want to talk about those things or listen about them, don't. Check out another video of mine. But this is going to be probably like one of the nicer videos with less content warning in it. I guess viewer discretion is advised. This video will contain spoilers for Superman versus the Elite, and probably some minor spoilers for the entirety of the DCEU. The base plot is pretty simple. Superman encounters a new, edgy hero team that does edgy things. They kill, they murder, they're basically from the Purge, and they revel in it. And they have the public on their side. Supes, played by George Newborn, the Superman from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, and pretty much every other Superman that you know that's animated, wonders if he might be too old-fashioned for this new world with new dangers. They butt heads. If that sounds interesting to you, check it out, and then come back and watch my video. We open on seemingly the most common opinion of Superman, at least that I read online. A cheesy cartoon where he does the right thing and is just all around wholesome. Turns out, that is a charity promotion that he's doing because he is that wholesome. Lois, played by Pauley Perrette, mocks it and says that he needs to protect his S. Because again, almost homophones. They almost kiss, but they're interrupted by the amazing cockblock Atomic Skull, played by D. Bradley Baker. He is indiscriminately murdering people, all to attract Supes and get an autograph. Supes does him one better by taking him on a tour of the city. He really shows Atomic Skull the architecture of Metropolis before they go off and take a swim together. This must have flustered Atomic Skull because he evaporates the whole lake. Talk about being hot and bothered. After that, our Boy Scout is talking to the UN about the use of power and his hope that we can show the world a better way and that violence isn't always the answer.
Humanity has a limitless potential for good. My purpose is to help people reach that potential.
But Bialyan and Poklistan tensions break out as apparently Pokolistan has deployed a bioweapon into Bialia. Supes tries to do the classic punchy-punchy, but our boy is holding back too much and he's widely ineffective. But some new guys come in and they're a bit less restrained. Supes takes the opportunity to let loose and also get people out of the way, something that these new guys don't seem too concerned about. After the fight is over, they peace out before they have a chance to divulge their competing interests. Soups tracks down the most talkative of the bunch down to England on account of the Union Jack tattooed on his chest. Having found them, they give a proper introduction this time. The man with the flag on his chest is Manchester Black, played by Robin Atkin Downes. The sexy lady with the demons is Menagerie, played by Melissa Disney, ironically. The big man with the chains is Coldcast, played by Cotero Colbert. And then there's Hat, played by Andrew Kashino. Manchester decides that talking through their backstory wouldn't be visually interesting enough and beams it directly into Superman's brains. Turns out, he was a thief from a young age, by necessity. His mother died when his sister was born, and his father was a drunk, so he spent his time nicking wallets here and there, and he was about to be caught by the constabulary when his sister fell in front of a train, and that's when his superpowers kicked in. He psychically stops the train, but implies that his sister died anyway. After that, MI5 picked him up and trained him, and now he's freelance. No one else gets a full backstory, which seems a little racist, honestly, considering that everyone else in the elite seems to be a person of color. I think Menagerie might be an alien, I'm not sure. It's kind of unclear. On the other hand, they are interrupted by a terrorist attack, which does cut their conversation short. Some guys are blowing up a train, and the elite are flabbergasted. So it's up to our boy to direct them. They manage to cut out a piece of what seems to be the English Channel and save the people, and the elite manage to catch the terrorists. Manchester goes ballistic and starts to invade their minds and kill them. But the Boy Scout isn't having any of that. He stops them, much to their dismay. Lois also cannot confirm the death of Vera, Black's sister, which spurns more doubt in the Boy Scout. Manchester announces the elite's intentions to the world.
This is a call out to the Shadow Cabinet, petty dictators and all-round tossers of the world. You're on notice. We're not bound by lines on a map, or political alliances, or governing bodies of any kind. And we have a very simple job. There are the good guys, namely us, and the bad guys, namely anyone who treats anyone else like trash to further their petty aims. We turn bad guys into memories. So mind your manners, lads and lasses, or we'll blow your house down.
Basically, he's going to stop any villains by any means necessary. This is pretty upsetting to Soups, who thinks that restraint is the key to being an effective hero. Tensions between Akolistan and Bialia worsen, and Soups flies to intercede, but the elite are already there, and he's caught in Coldcast's neutrino blasts. He is knocked out by this and almost killed, theoretically, by the invading forces. The elite teleport him onto Bunny, their macro-organic ship that they fucking lobotomized. These guys are fucking metal in everything that they do. Soups tries to convince them that murder is bad, and they're just like, nah fam, and teleport him back.
You can't murder people and call yourselves heroes.
Why not? Your government does it all the time.
Soups has a bit of an existential crisis on Infinite Earths about this. People in the media are siding wholly with the elite. He doubts himself. He doesn't know what to do. Could people have a point about the whole murder thing? He asks Lois, who reveals that she wishes that sometimes he would go a little further. He asks his dad, John Kent, for advice. John says that there isn't anything wrong with the way that Clark is handling things, and that he shouldn't worry. People will come around. This John Kent would never question whether or not it's a good thing that Clark saves some fucking children from drowning. Atomic Skull escapes and does more murder, outraged that he didn't get a signed poster from his favorite superhero. Soups is on the other side of the planet, so it falls to the elite to take him on. They're a pretty nice distraction, but they cannot finish the job. Soups arrives on the scene and does his job. He directs the elite to create a perimeter, something they should have done in the first place, and has Coldcast give Skull a big old hug. Which at the end of the day, isn't that what we all need? This calms him down some, and Manchester decides to be democratic about his decision of whether or not to murder him.
Do it!
The son of the man that Superman was debating earlier in the movie and had just died to Atomic Skull is out for blood.
It's your fault. You beat him already. You did it your way
And he failed. Is that the world you want? Or should monsters like this get what they deserve?
Or whatever Skull has in place of blood. Radiation poisoning? Chester is happy to comply and crushes Atomic Skull's skull. Supes demands that they turn themselves in for murder, and they refuse. The Bialian and Pakolistan war is escalating, and they fire missiles at one another. Supes, having had enough of this, disables all of their machines, saves the people, and wrecks their jets and machines of war, and pleads the people for peace. Part of the elite pop up and announce that peace is going to be had because they've gone ahead and killed the leaders of both countries. The Boy Scout can't take this anymore and loses his temper. He punches Black on camera. Black announces that Supes had just declared war on, quote, on everyone's new favorite heroes. They declare that they're going to take him out. He accepts their challenge the next day, but it has to be away from the general populace. Instead of flying to an empty desert, Bunny pops them to the moon and provides an atmosphere for the mortals. Black goes on and on and on about how Supes is just out of date and not worthy, as Hat, Menagerie, and Coldcast go all out on him. Black paralyzes him by stopping the blood from getting to his brain. Hat does generic magic against him, Menagerie tries to eat him out, and Coldcast does another neutrino blast against him, which apparently has the power of several suns, which is undoubtedly bullshit that would destroy the moon. But whatever. Superman is dead. All that is left of him is a scrap of his cape. Black continues to gloat until the voice of God is heard echoing out.
Who else has business to perform on this shroud before we hang it up? I, for one, should like to scrub my...
I finally get it. Thank you.
No friggin' way.
Cool it, Hat. Coldcast?
Nothing could've. That was like 15 suns exploding in his face.
I made the mistake of treating you people like people.
He finally understands what has to be done. There is a blur, and Menagerie is down. Her symbiotes flee her. Black and crew presume that she is dead. Hat says that he can handle this. Supes is weak to magic. Turns out, Hat is weak to being in a vacuum. Supes apparently collapses his lungs. Black asks Coldcast if he can do another neutrino blast, but it's too much to ask. He's tapped out. Panicking, Black takes them back to Earth, thinking that Supes wouldn't risk the lives of anyone in Metropolis. Supes bursts through in another flash and takes Coldcast into orbit. He then lands in front of Black. Black is infuriated. Supes has killed his team. Black attacks him and Supes dodges, and points out that this isn't any different than what Black does.
Your team of killers.
He's just killing some killers. In the fight, Lois is seemingly crushed by a car. People are running and screaming from Superman. Black unleashes everything he has to stop Superman. A huge Dragon Ball Z-esque beam is shot forth, consuming the entire street. Light consumes the city. Superman is blown away, but he struggles back to his feet. His eyes flare up red, and he lobotomizes Black's powers. He cuts out the part of his brain, leaving him defenseless against Superman. Apparently, Supes can also be fucking metal when he wants to be. Black pleads with him, tells him that he shouldn't sink down to their level, and Supes reveals that he hadn't, that he could.
It's so easy. Anger. Vengeance.
And that if he ever did, it would be fucking terrifying. But he wouldn't, because if he did, it wouldn't help people. He reveals that everyone is still alive. He had his robot save everyone, get everyone out of the way, and that the elite are still alive, but also being stripped of their powers. Lois survived thanks to one of the superbots, and the couple fly off into the sunset.
It's so easy. Anger. Vengeance.
So, Superman's boring, right? His powers solve every problem, huh? Or maybe the point of Supes is not to just have big, punchy battles. Not always, anyway. There are times when that can be interesting, but it's always interesting because of the emotional conflict of the story. In Justice League, the reason that it's interesting to see Superman letting loose and fight Darkseid at his full is because we don't get to see Supes like that. Supes is holding back all of the time.
That man won't quit as long as he can still draw a breath. None of my teammates will. Me? I've got a different problem. I feel like I live in a world made of cardboard, always taking constant care not to break something, to break someone. Never allowing myself to lose control, even for a moment, or someone could die. But you can take it, can't you, big man? What we have here is a rare opportunity for me to cut loose.
He does have to navigate the world like it's made of cardboard. He has all of the power he could ever need to destroy anything he doesn't like and doesn't care about. And that's why Man of Steel is almost an interesting movie. A young, reticent Superman is challenged. He has to make a choice. Kill Zod or let a family die. It is a tangible, existential threat to who he is as a person, or who he would be if that Superman wasn't a petty bitch. It would fuck up any other Superman. It certainly did in the animated Justice League story. Killing Luthor was a big step in Superman becoming a fascist leader in an alternate universe. And in this, he proves why it would be a bad idea. When Justice is just the biggest guy with the stick forcing everyone else to abide by his rules, it becomes unjust. Supes is not a great hero because he has all of the power, but rather because of how he uses the power. He could take over the planet in DC if he wanted to. He could kill Batman in an instant, but that wouldn't help people. And that's what his goal is. To be an example of something better, a symbol of hope. And you can look at this as a metaphor for any number of things. There is a lot of nostalgic reframing of history, especially in the United States. We like to think of ourselves as the heroes, the people who fought in World War II and saved the world from fascism. Look at how that turned out. We got more fascism, just a different brand. But there is some truth to that, but for us it was more about revenge. The US always has the option to be Superman. We are literally more powerful than most other countries by leaps and bounds. We have a thriving economy, an overinflated, robust military. We can help people. We can provide for ourselves and probably the world. But we choose to be the elite in many ways.
You can't murder people and call yourselves heroes.
Why not? Your government does it all the time.
We intervene with extreme violence when we shouldn't. We drone strike civilians and kill people who may have nothing to do with the targets. There we go. I continue to be anti-American in every video, or pro-American, in that I naively believe that we could be Superman despite all of the atrocities that we do, and then deny and ignore.
It's a matter of perspective, really.
I think that this is the reason that I don't like the DCEU portrayal of Supes. He's broody and melancholy, much like everyone else in those fucking movies. But more than that, Superman isn't a symbol of hope, outside of the weird Jesus imagery that floods those movies at every point. He is a bully. He goes around prioritizing his girlfriend over anyone else and doesn't show regard or care for other people. And I don't blame Cavill for that. Snyder doesn't see hope in the way that I think most people do, because it's not about saving people. It's about interacting with them. There's this great argument from a video by Maggie that, in short, amounts to the fact that DCEU Supes would never go out of his way to help a little girl get her cat out of a tree. He's above that. But that 1977 Supes absolutely would. There's no doubt. Superman from Justice League or Superman versus the Elite would also. Do you want more superhero content? Neat. I have some just for you. You in particular watching me, looking into my eyes right now. I write books. It's what I'd like to do for a living, but because of my remarkable imposter syndrome, I can't bring myself to actually sell them. So I release them for free online, like these videos. You can read my latest web novel online at Royal Road right now. It also deals with the complex relationships of superheroes, supervillains, and society, because we live in one of those. I learned that from the Joker. Check it out. The link is in the description. Anyway, you know what would make you a Superman woman? Envy? Sharing this video with your friends. Pressing that like button. leaving a comment. Do you agree with me? You should. I'm right. About literally everything. That's my superpower. Also, I'm building a kryptonite ray gun to take out Zack Snyder's Superman. If you would like to help me, you can support me on Patreon. That'd be pretty jazzy. This has been Sean, your anti-American reviewer, signing off.